Thank you, Chair.
Anyways, we're here with Larry Bazer. Larry's a good friend of mine. We served together in the Army National Guard, former state chaplain for Massachusetts, and now currently the staff chaplain or the joint chaplain for the National Guard. What is it, Larry?
It's actually, you could say I'm acting director of the Joint Chaplain's Office.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. Anyways, but thanks for making time. I wanted to ask you, I was really surprised to hear about the rocket attacks from Hamas onto Israel. Very disturbing to hear about that. And I know you've been there. You may have friends and relatives who live there. I'm not sure, but I want to get your perspective on it and what's your reaction to it.
Well, thanks so much, Ed, for reaching out and actually thinking about what's going on. It is so important at that time. I think there's a part of me it's extremely painful and awful, and I actually have quite a few number of relatives and friends. I just got word from one of my best friends over there that all his kids are of age are either called up or actually serving right now. I have a cousin who actually lives 3 miles from the Gaza border on a kibbutz. They were okay and I think evacuated safely afterwards, but harrowing. And knowing other people whose they were sheltering in place. They heard the gunfire in Arabic outside their home. They couldn't go out for over 10 hours. And actually their father, her husband's father, who is a retired Israeli general, came and rescued them along with some others. So these are very real stories that are affecting very much the Jewish community here and Jews around the world, but especially our prayers and thoughts there. So it's very much constantly on my mind.
So what do you think what prompted the attack?
It's so in one regard, I mean, we're all sort of shocked. On the other hand, I'm not surprised. So here are the different thoughts that I have. One, I mean, Hamas outright as a terrorist, murderous organization has the number one goal in their charter of destroying Israel and killing Jews. That's always been their sort of in their governance. This is what they believe, and what has happened there is vicious. There's been sort of this uptick in attacks that they've done. Israel's responded back. I think they saw this as a time when almost like 50 years to the day of Yom Kippur War in 73, that Israel seemed to really have been caught, without, by surprise. A lot of, I heard stuff that not everything was manned. They sort of thought things were good and they could hold this. And that was not the case. I do think also they were looking that they were getting very nervous, or it was the right time to derail the Israeli, U.S., Saudi Arabia accords that they were just about to go through. There's an idea once Saudi Arabia formalized formal relations with Israel, 1 or 2 other Arab countries would follow. They usually follow, like Qatar or possibly even Kuwait. And so that was one big factor. And they just always had this on their mind to be able to, they were just waiting for the opportunity, and this seemed right.
Would it be fair to say this would be Israel's 9/11?
I would say that without a question.
Okay, because I'm reading about the hundreds of people killed. And also, I've also read about, I'm not sure how true it is, about a number of Israeli military members as well as civilians being held hostage by Hamas.
Correct.
Yes. And what do you think about not a bargaining chip, but it's just to...
I think it's more than just, they could say, a bargaining chip. I think some of the reports that just have been coming in that they would, when they went into this big music festival where 260 young people were basically gunned down and murdered, where you saw some of them being dragged away by their hair. Some people, I heard this was on, they were filming, they heard the rocket explosions, so they started running, and then they saw the gliders come in, where they were just coming in for attack or driving through, shooting indiscriminately, just out of cold blood. Some of the terrorists were dressed as first aid, so people would run toward them and then they would shoot them down.
Good
so
Lord.
it is it's all true what you're hearing, just the absolute murderous part, taking people in wheelchairs. There's and these Hamas murderers and terrorists are taking videos of it proudly. There's stories where they would take someone's cell phone they just captured, show them as they would shoot it, and post it on the person's Facebook. So this is how the family knows. So it's that type of terror,
Yeah.
and inhumaneness is going on.
And what about the role of Iran in this?
So everything I'm saying now is Larry Bazer. I have to say this: we both have connections to the military.
Yeah, I know. And we got to be very clear about that. I appreciate that, Larry.
So I think they are probably very much involved in it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think in that regard,
what can we do as Americans over here? I mean, we're praying for Israel. We want to be the best friend we can be to Israel.
That's actually a great question, and some of the things that have come out. And I'm going to say this: that there's from the Jewish community, a lot of people all supporting each other. I'm planning to attend a rally in D.C. With some of my rabbinic colleagues. But hearing more from our Christian brothers and sisters, I think, is really important. So first and foremost, and I think this from you and your community and your incredible church, pray for Israel.
Sure.
Pray that things resolved. That you and I know how important prayer is, and how the Almighty hears those prayers and sends strength. So prayers of strength, prayers of hope, prayers of healing is number one. Two, and if I could say, help support. There's some great, if there's a rally in your area that's put out by the Jewish community or one of the bigger cities, I would encourage you to attend as friends of the Jewish community. It can make a huge difference in what peace is about. And support of the Israeli, it's called Magen David Adom. It's the equivalent of the Red Cross. It's the Israeli ambulance service and first aid. There are other things that contribute that can make a difference, that you could feel a part of it. So you could still be here for you in the great state of Florida and the sunshine and everything, but you could have an impact over there, from prayer to personally standing up in support.
I appreciate that so much, Larry. And I want to thank you for your time.
No, I'm honored.
Thank you so much.